Need to be in front of a grand jury. No justice.
And now, America's #1 civil rights leader, the Reverend Al Sharpton.
What's up, Rev?
All
right, we are live.
It's Friday, March the 21st. Women's History Month. Do you know what time it is? It's Al Sharpton's time. And for the next 3 hours, it's time to put aside your all pretenses, deception, denial, or fronting. The time has come to keep it real on Keeping It Real with Reverend Al Sharpton. A very good afternoon to you all across the country. And good morning to all of you listening on Sirius XM, Channel 126, The Urban View, where talk empowers and becomes action. I'm coming to you live from our National Action Network corporate headquarters in New York, and it is Friday, and you that are frequent listeners know it is always Exhale Friday on Fridays, where we encourage you to call in and talk about whatever is on your mind, whatever is in your heart. All you have to do is call us at 1-877 532-5797, 1-877-532-5797, or tweet us at twitter.com, the Rev Al, twitter.com, the Rev Al, the THE Rev Al. Or you that are watching us live stream can put your comments on the board, and I'll read as many of them as I can get to. And I see you already on the live stream. A lot of you. Deborah Mosley's on saying good morning, Reverend Sharpton, and Kenneth Graham is saying the same thing, and Nikita White says, yes, Al Sharpton, tell the truth. All right, I see you. And we're going to be taking calls the whole 3 hours. So much to exhale about this week. I mean, it's hard to even pinpoint what you wanna consider exhaling on. You know, I did something here in the office at Nan Corporate this afternoon that I don't get to do because I'm in meetings a lot. In between meetings, I watched the half hour of President Donald Trump's press conference in the Oval Office. And he was trying to dig his way out of the reports that came from some insiders in his administration that had said that Elon Musk was going to the Pentagon to be briefed on China and intelligence on China in preparation for whatever may in the future come about. And right away, people started attacking it, saying, wait a minute, Musk has a lot of business in China. China has built an electric car that is better than his. Are we now giving him information that could help him to use them in his business context in China or leverage against China that he could use? So right away, Trump and his crowd, Hedgefoot and all of them, did the moonwalk. No. He's just meeting about Doge and efficiency, and it's an informal meeting. Well, then why did y'all make a big thing about he was going over there? Very interesting. And, of course, he tried to justify why he wanted to make Canada the 51st state. They are border states with us. They've been border states for us a long time. We give them a certain amount of money. All of that. But then the thing that really caught my eye and is when they got into this whole back and forward with he and the judge, he and his administration, and the judge that is demanding to tell them when he made the order that they could not bring these Venezuelans to El Salvador to jail under the act, that's a 1798, I believe is the year, but certainly an 18th century act, that he could not bring them there. They could not bring them there. And he wanted to know whether they flew them anyway after he gave the order. And for 2-3 days now, they've been fighting over this. And Trump was trying to have it both ways. Well, the judge should not be able to overrule a president, but we didn't disobey the order. Well, first of all, there's a little thing President Trump called balance of power. You have the executive branch, which is you and all the departments. You have the legislative branch, which is the U.S. Senate and the House of Representatives. And you have the judicial branch, which is the judges from the Supreme Court down to the federal, down to the state, down to municipal or city. So if the judicial branch, and this is a federal judge, I believe he's the head federal judge in that area, says you cannot transport these people, and if they're already in the air, turn around, and you disobeyed it, yes, he has the right to do. He's not overruling the president. He's ruling that with lack of evidence that these people were, in fact, Venezuelan gang criminals, since they had no criminal record here. He's doing what he's supposed to do. Due process, they call it. It's interesting that the president calls every accusation, every indictment, every charge against him political, but everybody that his team hits is justified. And so in that press conference, he defends his position that the judge shouldn't be interfering. If a person is being transported out of the country that has the legal right to be here and that is being deemed a gang murderer, and he is not that, he has no recourse in this country but to have the courts protect his rights. I have no idea, none, whether all of them or any of them are Venezuelan gangbangers or murderers. But neither does Trump. They're just snatching up people so they can play to their crowd. We told you we was going to throw people out the country. If they weren't just snatching up people, then why can't you deliver the paperwork or the evidence to a federal judge on this is why we know who they are? I mean, he's playing the game of mirrors with us. Why, they took Jackie Robinson down or from the Department of Defense's social media. Then they say it was a mistake and put it back up. Took down some others. Took down Tuskegee Airmen. They know exactly what they're doing. They're playing to their base. When he talks about banning people from coming in the country, look at the countries they've been banning. Mostly all of them in Africa and the Caribbean. So I guess people in Europe don't commit crimes. Or Canada. All the crime in the world is done in Africa and the Caribbean. And all of you black men that said Democrats are not doing anything, therefore you are going to vote for Trump. Well, in the first 2 months of his election, he's ended diversity, equity, and inclusion. He has impaired voting rights. He has absolutely caused financial hysteria by this whole idea of giving a tax cut to the billionaires and zillionaires, and they may have to deal with Social Security in order to balance the budget to give that tax cut. And he has, of course, dealt a real blow by saying we're going to disband the Department of Education and let the states decide education. So we going back to pre-1954 Brown versus the Board of Education, where it's up to the states to decide education. Now, for you that are older and remember when Governor George Wallace of Alabama stood in the door to block those black students from coming to school, that would have been a state decision. That's what states decide. If they had not been protected by federal law, Brown versus Board of Education, those black students, Charlene Hunter and them, would not have been able to go to school. That's what states are making the decision rather than National Education Department. It's called states' rights. They had a dispute called the Civil War. Y'all remember reading about that, where the states' rights folk fought the Union, national government. And we right back there. And we need to be clear that states' rights gives us no protection. You're at the whim of the states, and they will practice what they can. All right, it's Exhale Friday, whatever's in your heart, whatever's on your mind. Call me at 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797, or you can watch us right now at nationalactionnetwork.net and put in our page that whatever message you want, and I'll try to read as many as I can off of our page. Let's take a break, be right back. Keeping it real. Sharpton, be right back.
Breaking news. The issues, the stories affecting
National Action Network's National Convention, April 2nd through the 5th, 2025, in New York at the Sheraton. This year, and the 57th anniversary of the assassination of Dr. King, they're trying to take back everything he stood and died for. We convene every year in April to make sure they know that they killed the dreamer, not the dream. We have workshops on everything from business development to dealing with our legal needs, from police reform all the way to how we deal with sentencing, how we deal with immigration, how we deal with the arts and entertainment. We have big names that come every year, but don't come for the big names, come for the big plans and the big execution. Register now, because with this year, as we are under assault with DEI, under assault with ending the Civil Rights Division of the Justice Department, under assault with now consent decrees and all the neutralized. If there ever was a time that you should come to a National Action Network convention, now's the time. We don't need a lot of philosophizing. We don't need a lot of showing how smart you are. We need action. We plan action and then we go and do action. I'm looking for you. Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net. We have no registration fee. You don't pay to register. Just get here and let's get it on. National Action Network Convention, April 2nd through the 5th. I'm going to look for you there.
So who is Al Sharpton anyway? Who is this 33-year-old preacher without a church?
A number of black New Yorkers as well. He is little more than a pudgy exhibitionist who can be counted on to show up, bullhorn in hand, at every racial incident.
I often quote Mark Twain saying, the two most important moments in life is the moment you are born and the moment you find out why you were born. I had a very troubling conversation the other day that prompted me to do this little video. Young man that I've known a while came to me and he was crushed. I mean, really crushed, because people were criticizing his work. He's in the ministry, but he's also an actor. And he said he couldn't understand why people were jumping all over, criticizing him, trying to find scandalous and derogatory things about him. And I told him, I said, you know, you very young. You don't know the road I've traveled. They call me everything but a child of God.
A blabbermouth, a loudmouth, too flamboyant, an agitator, a racist,
and I
a race
had to
baiter.
learn.
Yeah, right.
I was not defined by how others saw me. I was defined by how I saw myself and whether I was being true to myself. Some of you watching this don't like me. And it doesn't matter as long as I know what I'm doing and I like me for being real. So I'm doing this video to say to you, whoever you are and whatever you do, you may not be in ministry or social justice, none of this stuff, but don't live your life worried about opposition or people that don't like you. You can turn that around. Use me as an example. The same people that call me a scam artist, a con artist, a sellout, or racial hustler and all, I kept going. And the people I respected started respecting and publicly embracing my work.
When Coretta Scott King, the widow of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., had this to say about Al Sharpton.
A leader who has protested injustice with a passionate, unrelenting commitment to nonviolent action in the spirit and tradition of Martin Luther King Jr. And I am talking about your leader, our leader, the Reverend Al Sharpton.
The other thing that hasn't changed is the National Action Network's commitment to fight injustice and inequality here in New York City and across America. And that's not only a testament to Reverend Sharpton, it's a testament to all of you who are here tonight.
First and foremost, to Reverend Sharpton. I saw him when he first came on the scene, and I have marveled at his tenacity, at the development of his intellect, and his devotion to our movement, and much he has contributed to the world we are experiencing. I am honored, and I must say that when I had my debate with Dr. King on the issue of the church and religion, he didn't warn me that after his departure, his space would be filled by another preacher, and that preacher would be Al Sharpton.
All you want in life is people that matter to you to say you did all right. And more important, that you can look in the mirror and say you did all right.
Thank you, Rev. Thanks for that introduction. Look, we've known each other for a long time. I'm grateful not only for your leadership and partnership, but quite frankly, more importantly, for your friendship. And thanks to all of you, members of our nation's most important civil rights organization.
You have been, over all of your years, such an extraordinary leader. You are a voice of truth, a voice of conscience, a voice of practicality around what we must address and what we can do. And I thank you so much for your friendship.
I remember that most of the youth around Al's age, he was about 12, wanted to be like Connie Hawkins, a great basketball player, legend, or Earl the Pearl, or Clyde Frazier. Al wanted to be like Adam Powell, a powerful preacher with a social justice gospel. He was very close to, at that time, to Reverend William Augustus Jones, powerful preacher and social justice advocate, and Reverend Gardner Taylor State right down the street, and Bishop Washington, whose church he came from, and Reverend Sandy Ray. He wanted to be like these giant preachers. He wanted them to have the edge, however, of the King's social justice dimension. He wanted to be like them, now he's one of them. Perhaps taller than most of them because of the risks he has taken and the reward God has given him with his gift. I remember so well that I first escorted him to jail. He was around 13 years old, with the jail fighting the ANP. He was in the lineage of our struggle. He grew up in it. We didn't just see him on TV one night. He didn't happen. He came bottom up, not top down.
Thank you for joining us for Weekdays Live with Reverend Al Sharpton. Take the time to share this broadcast right now. Tell your friends it's time to keep it real with Reverend Al. Comment your questions now in the chat or call Reverend Al Sharpton directly on air at 877-532-5797. Now stay tuned for Reverend Al.
This is Reverend Al Sharpton. As you watch the broadcast, support National Action Network. Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net and be involved. You can join, take your membership right online, www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Getting ready to start the program, but we need you to be part of the movement. That's when Haile Selassie, the Emperor of Ethiopia, came here, Adam Clayton Powell Jr., who was pastor here now, at Ethiopian Coptic Cross. That was my first year on civil rights and politics.
As I know here, you're in trouble, where it says about 30% are unemployed. That's why I'm working hard to get this surplus food here. Some of you say to me, well, I'm not like you. I'm not a congressman. I haven't got education. I haven't got work. But you're a human being. And you know what you've got? You've got in your hand the power to use your vote and to use even those few cents you get from welfare to spend them only where you want to spend them. Look at that.
It's XL Friday, whatever's on your mind, whatever's in your heart, 1-877-532-5797. And I want you to express yourself. And I want to hear what you have to say. And you can go on www.nationalactionnetwork.net and you can put your comments on and I'll read some of it. Let me say by way of announcements, don't forget to watch Politics Nation with Al Sharpton. I'm live tomorrow at 5 p.m. Saturday and again Sunday. And we've got a lot coming at you this weekend because a lot came at us Among my guests are going to be members of Congress to talk about what are they going to do now that the Republican stopgap bill is going through. They're going to have to go back to the same place in September. Some are mad, angry with Schumer, some are not. But what does this mean, and where do we go from here? Then we have the National Education Department being disbanded by Trump. I'm going to have the head of the National Education Association, the largest teachers union in the country, Becky Pringle. I'm going to have her on. I'm going to have chair of the Wisconsin party, Democratic Party, talk to me all tomorrow about where the Democrats need to go to how there was a movie out years ago, how Stella got her groove back. How is the DNC going to get his groove back? And there has been the suggestion by Elon Musk that they pardon Derek Chauvin. Derek Chauvin is the policeman that had his knee on the neck of George Floyd. They killed him. I'm going to have George Floyd's brother on, talk for the family. Terrence Floyd will be on tomorrow. Then on Sunday, I'm going to have members of the progressive and judiciary members of Congress as dealing with this budget, dealing with the whole fight with the judges, and then I'm going to have one or two of the legal analysts tell us the law on these departures and these deportments that Donald Trump is doing. The deportations, I think, is the right word. Y'all wrote deportations. And I also want to have on from the Black Veterans Project how they feel about these websites from the Department of Defense erasing Jackie Robinson and Rogers and Medgevers and others. So we got 2 action-packed nights. Watch both of them on Saturday evening, tomorrow, and on Sunday evening, 5 p.m. Eastern Time on MSNBC. And tomorrow, you that are in the New York, New Jersey, Connecticut area, meet me or beat me to the Saturday Action Rally in Harlem. I'll be there 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. It is important for you to be in the house and be a part of the rally, part of the energy. You know, in 1989, they killed a young man, Yusef Hawkins, in Bensonhurst, Brooklyn. And we marched and marched and marched one of those marches. I was stabbed at. And we finally got several of them convicted for the murder. Before that, it was hard to even get convictions. I think in Howard Beach in '86, we got them convicted on lesser charges, but these weren't serious charges. Now they're trying to undo one of the convictions. So I'm going to have the mother of Yusef Hawkins at the rally in the morning. And because there's a hearing this week, and we need to get prepared to be at that hearing. And that's tomorrow morning, Saturday, the Saturday Action Rally at House of Justice, 145th Street and Lenox Avenue. Some of you have seen the story of Yusef Hawkins on Netflix, I believe. And it's Storm Over Brooklyn. Watch that over the weekend. Storm Over Brooklyn on Netflix. I believe it's Netflix. Is that right? All right. And so you'll be up to speed. HBO. It's on HBO, not Netflix. It's on HBO. Storm Over Brooklyn. It's the story of Yusef Hawkins' murder in Brooklyn. All right. And then, of course, National Action Network's convention, and people are coming from everywhere. On a week from Wednesday, it starts April 2nd through the 5th. Martin Luther King III, Ben Crump, Patti LaBelle, so many coming. Ben Crump will be doing our criminal justice panel. Michael Eric Dyson will be doing one of the panels. Stacey Abrams will be in do one of the panels. We're going to have media, what's going on in the media. Ari Melba from The Beat on MSNBC. I was on his show last night. He's coming doing one of our fireside chats. So is the morning show people, Simone Sanders, Alicia Menendez, and Michael Steele all be there. And then Don Lemon and Errol Lewis. I mean, everybody. And it's all free. But all you have to do is register to guarantee a seat. And that is at www.nationalactionnetwork.net. www.nationalactionnetwork.net. And you can be a part of history. And in the convention, we're not only going to, and you can see the whole schedule at the same place, nationalactionnetwork.net. We're not only going to have speakers and workshops, and definitely going to have all them and the experts and the people I've named and others. We're coming out of there with our economic plan on how we're going to deal with these companies, how we're going for prolonged boycotts against those that are not with us, those that, I don't care if they sponsor, a lot of them buy tables to come to the convention, doesn't matter. If you are against us, we going to be against you. All right, let's go to the phones. It's Exhale Friday. Let's start with Milo. I believe it's Milo or Mello. Mello in Brooklyn, New York. You're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Hi, Rev.
Hi.
I got a question for you, right? What is we going to do with Elon Musk and our personal information? Is there anything we could do about that?
I think, thank you for your call. It's a great question, Mello. I think that we've got to directly go and sue or bring a lawsuit against him and those that appointed him, and have them have to reveal in court what was the reason he got our personal information, how much of it did he get, and what's the intent. I mean, all of that I want to bring up to the legal panel with Ben Crump at our convention of, I mean, how do we just let this stuff go? I think it's a very important question, and we definitely going to deal with that and come out of there with a strategy. It's one thing for people to just get mad and say, we need to do so-and-so. That's why when we started this organization 34 years ago, I called it the National Action Network. We're going to do what we say, action, not just woof, sell woof tickets. We'll be right back, keeping it real. Exhale Friday, keeping it real. Sharpton, be right back.
If you need up to $3,000, go to WeFixMoney.com.
The more you grind, the more you realize that people look and behave exactly like the choices they make every day. Whatever your choices are, how you eat, how you exercise, how you handle your temperament, how you handle challenges, whether you're disciplined, all of that is reflected in how you appear and how you behave every day. Your daily choices. That's why no matter where I am and no matter how much I have to do, I stay on my grind, working out, watching my diet, and trying to deal with my temperament, because my behavior is a reflection of my choices that I make every day. And I don't worry about people being in opposition. People that oppose you are the ones that believe in your power and your potential more than anything. If they would oppose something that didn't have some force and power with it. So make your daily choices carefully and be very loyal and committed to the choices you make. I had a thought this morning that I wanted to share with you about mentorship. I am able to do a lot of what I do because I had great mentors. But there are correct ways and incorrect ways to mentor people, in my opinion. I was mentored as a boy preacher by Bishop F.D. Washington, one of the great Pentecostal preachers of his time. Then Reverend William Jones became my pastor after Bishop Washington died, who was unquestionably in the top 5 black church ministers, theologians. Reverend Jesse Jackson, who I started my activism under his leadership, he and Reverend Jones. And I learned politics directly as a youth director from Shirley Chisholm. So even though I didn't finish college, I had the most unique education in the world from being exposed to giants. But the one thing I learned is as I grew older and people started coming younger than me and wanted me to teach and mentor them, the magic of the mentors I had is they did not want me to be their clone. They wanted me to learn things from them and use my own gifts and talents in my own unique way and let me do things on my own, because they knew that if I flopped in some things, it would teach me for the other things. They'll come and help me once I was down, but they were not going to have me avoid being down. And they were not going to impose themselves on me. Why am I saying that? Because too many mentors want clones. And too many mentees want their mentors to put them on a pedestal. Oh, so-and-so didn't do this for me. Oh, so-and-so didn't open doors for me. If they got to open doors for you, it may mean that they knew you weren't ready to go through those doors. Their job is to prepare you. Your job is to develop your own skills, your own unique ways. And I don't care if it's my daughters, who both have come into their own, or anyone else. I'm not a talent agent. I did not form National Action Network to give people their step up. I formed it to fight for justice for everybody. If talented people get in, it's my job to invest and give them a platform. It's their job to get on the platform and perform and show their ability. Sitting with me today in the office as I talk about it is one of my mentees, Reverend Stephen Marshall. Now, Stephen, you just came around us when you were how old?
11 years old.
11 years old. You just turned 40 and now you're called to the ministry?
Yes, sir.
And what do you do in National Action Network?
I formulate policies, lead in various regions, but most importantly, I senior advisor to you on all things from social justice strategies, politics, intergovernmental affairs, you name it, community organizing, all of that stuff.
And I could go through scores of others. My daughter started Huddle. They got Huddles now, which is for young people to meet once a week all over the country. I just saw the video from the Las Vegas National Action Network chapter. Now, when you decided to preach, did I ever tell you to become a preacher?
Not one time.
Who called you to preach?
The Lord.
All right. And did I say go to this school or that school?
No, sir.
Did I open this door, that door? Did I tell you be ready when the doors open?
Always be ready and prepared.
And that's what I'm saying. Get you some young people than you that you can help along the way. But don't be their talent agent. Their talent must speak for themselves. And anybody that grumbles with you about so-and-so didn't do something for them, maybe it's because they didn't feel you were ready, or that they felt if they did it, you wouldn't do it on your own. But we all don't live forever. I want the next generation to speak of me, of National Action Network, and others, the way I speak of Reverend Jones and Bishop Washington and Shirley Chisholm and Reverend Jackson. But I just don't want young people to feel that somebody ought to give them the reins of leadership or give them the reins of business or whatever it is you're in. You need to learn from their journey, get the pearls of wisdom from them, but don't have them do for you, because then it means you can't do it for yourself.
Thank you for joining us for Weekdays Live with Reverend Al Sharpton. Take the time to share this broadcast right now. Tell your friends it's time to keep it real with Reverend Al. Comment your questions now in the chat or call Reverend Al Sharpton directly on air at 877-532-5797. Now stay tuned for Reverend Al.
This is Reverend Al Sharpton. As you watch the broadcast, support National Action Network. Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net and be involved. You can join, take your membership right online, www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Getting ready to start the program, but we need you to be part of the movement. Reverend Al Sharpton, let me read some of the comments off live stream. Gregory wrote, "Hi, Reverend Al Sharpton. Are white people affected by all these shutdowns like school administration, Medicare, Social Security?" Absolutely. In some areas, they're more affected than anyone else. But the con game they're playing on them is they're acting like this will only affect people of color, black people. Rural people, rural whites that voted for Trump are more on Medicaid, Medicare rather, than there are of blacks and of other people of color. Social Security, the same thing. They're voting against their own interest. And we need to talk about that everywhere we go. They duped them. Paul Barber said, just wait till the midterms come. We will win. We will take back the House of Representatives in one way or the other time to take our country back and put that liar and his cronies to jail the hard way. All right, Paul Barber. Thank you for both of your comments. I'll keep going back to the call screen than the comment screen. I want to get as much exhale in. I don't want folk going through the weekend holding up in nothing. I want them to exhale. Well, let me answer this. Cordell McMillan says, Reverend Al Sharpton, why do you continue to appear on Morning Joe show when Joe Scarborough bowed down to 47, meaning when Joe went and met with Trump? Well, first of all, any host has the right to meet with whoever they want. And if I disagree, I will say that. But what is gained by us not using the media to get our message across? To explain to me what benefit that would be if I say I'm not going. It's not like they going off the air. Just like people come on my show may not agree with me. So I'm going to keep doing everybody's show, whether I agree with them or not. Most things, Joe Scarborough and I used to disagree on. A lot of things we've agreed on. A couple of things we disagree on. And we talk about all of that. But he has an audience, a huge audience. I have a good audience on the weekends. I do Morning Joe a couple of days a week. And I do Nicole Wallace. I did Ari Melville last night. I do not give a litmus test to go on a show. So I hope you understand that, Cordell. Let's go to RT in St. Louis. Or Cordell, you're on. I'm sorry, RT. I'm still with Cordell. RT from St. Louis. You're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, Brother Sharpton.
Good afternoon.
I have a comment and a question for Trump supporters. The comment is that while Trump is on a rampage to get rid of anything that deals with race, gender, and diversity, he just bought back into the Oval Office just 2 months ago. He just bought back in the portrait of Andrew Jackson.
That's
and in
correct.
case people don't know the history of right, Reverend Sharpton. Just in case people don't know the history of Andrew Jackson, not only did Andrew Jackson own hundreds of slaves, but Andrew Jackson is the one who signed the Indian Removal Act of 1830, which forced tens of thousands of Indians to walk from the fertile southeast lands of the United States onto Indian reservations in Oklahoma, where up to 6,000 of them died during that long walk. And so so Trump has a portrait of this racist in the Oval Office.
Well,
And
let me add to
is
that.
this.
Let me add to that, and you can go to your last point. Not only did Andrew Jackson own slaves, do the Indian Removal Act, he appointed to the Supreme Court, his nominee to the Supreme Court was Judge Roger Taney, who became the Chief Justice who decided the case on the Dred Scott decision that blacks had no rights that whites were bound to respect. Roger Taney was put on the Supreme Court by Andrew Jackson. Donald Trump put Andrew Jackson's portrait in the Oval Office last time. It was taken out by Biden. He brought it back and put it in again. Go ahead with your next point.
And the last point is this, and this is directed at Trump supporters, and I know you got a few that call in.
Right.
My question to them is this: How do you put a man back in office for the second time who was caught on a hot mic saying that he likes to grab women by their private parts? He was convicted in civil court of sexually assaulting a woman in the New York City department store dressing room. He was convicted of and received 34 felonies in the Stormy Daniels hush money trial, and he was found guilty of artificially of raising the value of his properties in New York, where he had to pay millions, hundreds of millions of dollars fine for that. How do you put him back in office over a well-qualified, highly educated woman who has no convictions?
Absolutely. Not only have no conviction, she was the Attorney General of the state and the DA before that. She was a law officer, not a law breaker. And thank you for your call. And Cordell, thank you. Cordell wrote back on our comments line. Thank you for answering my question. I appreciate Cordell knowing that I did answer, because it's about communication. We don't have to agree, but let's talk about it. Or in this case, he wrote about it. Let's go to Demetrius in Cleveland, Ohio, WERE. Demetrius.
Hey, thank you, Reverend Sharpton, for letting me speak. I just want to say quickly, I believe it's injustice the way the Trump administration expelled the South African ambassador. Just because South Africa wouldn't bend to the whims of the administration when it comes to providing upward mobility for the South African people, putting in policies similar to the DEI program here, because he only was speaking of the truth of how the United States at the time, Trump administration, trying to dominate the world, and to expel him because of their political beliefs, the Trump administration, they're showing injustice and they're showing how the administration wanted to dominate South African affairs. South Africa is an independent country, same way Canada is an independent country. I don't understand how Trump and his administration have the belief that they can dominate Canada when Canada fought for their independence from England and France, just like the United States. The United States have no claim to that country. And also, when it comes to Musk going to speak to the Chinese through the Pentagon, he have no credentials to do that. It just can be for his own business interests. And to me, risking American lives, jeopardizing lives in case a conflict does arise with China is detrimental to America, because we'd be losing our lives, for a business interest. So I believe, and he don't have the credentials, he don't have the understanding of foreign policy, so he shouldn't have no type of intercourse with China, period. And also, it's really upset me going back to the immigrants was sent to Costa Rica. To me, it's similar to the same things that happened during World War II. To me, they were sent to a concentration camp just like the Jews was, and some of the Gypsies was, and some of the handicapped. They sent there to a foreign country. They're away from their family. Some of them, they haven't been convicted of any crimes in the United States. So I see this administration is similar to the same regime what was in Germany, what was in Italy, what was in Japan. That's why it is, to me, it's no controversy in comparing those same type of governments. The Nazis and the triple, that's in Japan, Italy and Germany with what the United States doing, because they sending innocent people to a country where they know they'll have no family, where they're going to be mistreated and in bad prison conditions. You know, and they probably won't live too long as well. And also, I just like to bring up when it comes to Toussaint Louverture, I just found out he's buried in France. But I believe the Haitian people would prefer his body to be brought back to Haiti, because he did fall for the Haitian independence. And I believe he should be brought back to Haiti and interned there, so they can have him on his native soil in Haiti. Okay, thank you, Reverend Sharpton.
All right, thank you for your call, Demetrius. Let's put up Robert Fenimore. Robert Fenimore writes on comments line, does everyone know about the Tawana Brawley hoax, Freddie's Fashion Mart arson and deaths, Yanko Rosenbaum stabbing and delinquent taxes? John 8:32, and you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. Well, let me set you free. Let me go start with Tawana Brawley. Tawana Brawley was a young lady that was found having been, put it back up so I can go point by point, that was found in a bag. She said that she had been violated by some law enforcement. Her mother backed her up. 2 lawyers backed up. 2 months later, they came. I got involved and stood up for her like I stood up for a lot of other cases. Grand jury said they didn't believe her. They believed it was a hoax. I stood up for her like I've stood up cases 50 years. If that's the one case you got, then maybe everybody in Me Too is wrong. Maybe everybody that believed that O.J. Simpson was wrong. O.J. Simpson was convicted. So why don't you deal with the truth there? Yanko Rosenbaum was killed in Crown Heights the day before the family ever called me into Crown Heights. I was living in New Jersey. Wasn't there. Freddie's Fashion Mart was killed. The people in there was killed by a man who was against me marching, said they need to die, and he went in there and killed people with a fire and killed himself. So I know you ain't blaming me for that. And delinquent taxes, yeah, about 10 years ago I got delinquent taxes, paid every dime. How's your taxes doing, Robert? You shall know the truth, and the truth will set you free. Y'all write the wrong host. I can take anything you want to ask. The question is, can you take the answer? Keeping it real, that's what I do. Sharpton, that's my name. Be right
Thank you
back.
for joining us for Weekdays Live with Reverend Al Sharpton.
Breaking
Take the time
news.
to share this broadcast right now. Tell your friends it's time to keep it real with Reverend Al. Comment your questions now in the chat or call Reverend Al Sharpton directly on air at 877-532-5797. Now stay tuned for Reverend Al.
This is Reverend Al Sharpton. As you watch the broadcast, support National Action Network. Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net and be involved. You can join, take your membership right online, www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Getting ready to start the program, but we need you to be part of the movement.
you. Beyond law, I love you. Beyond life and see the ways that God has brought you. Oh, anybody?
Gift of $500. So God bless you.
One of the things that we're going to deal with is this DEI and deal with how we target a company that has joined the anti-DEI movement. Now, there are other efforts going on, and I support them. I'm not against nobody doing whatever they think is right. But I know how to do a boycott. I'm not talking about, I support what a bishop is doing in Georgia, Reggie Jackson, and my friend and brother Jamal Bryant doing the 40-day don't buy. That's great. Somebody else is doing shutdown on the 28th. That's great. They put my name out there. I know about it, but I'm not against it. But what we must do is we're going to convene at the network convention where we have now a commission that we have started in NAN on King Day, that on 90 days later, which will be in the middle of our convention, we will give the report on a company that has a high level of consumer doubt that comes out of our community and a small margin of profit. We know then that we can take a real impact because he cannot have his margin of profit turn into a loss and sustain itself. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to announce we're going to buy some stock in some of these companies and go to the stockholders meeting. So all of y'all here today, I'm going to buy some shares and we go into the stockholders meeting and stand up in the meeting and say, how do you sell in our community, but you won't give contracts to our people? You won't hire our people. You won't deal with the C-suites. So we're going to have a multi-pronged strategy. Why don't you advertise on Black Media? We're going across the board and we're laying out the plan. And we got people those 4 days. People that are watching that want to come, all you have to do is register www.nationalactionnetwork.net, or you can call the toll-free number. You can call now. People are at the phones now at 1-877-626-4651. That's when Haile Selassie, the Emperor of Ethiopia, came here, Adam Clayton Powell Jr., who was pastor here now, at Ethiopian Coptic Cross. That was my first hero in civil rights and politics.
As I know here, you're in trouble, where it says about 30% are unemployed. That's why I'm working hard to get this surplus food here. Some of you say to me, well, I'm not like you. I'm not a congressman. I haven't got education. I haven't got work. But you're a human being. And you know what you've got? You've got in your hand the power to use your vote and to use even those few cents you get from welfare to spend them only where you want to spend them.
Thank you for joining us for Weekdays Live with Reverend Al Sharpton. Take the time to share this broadcast right now. Tell your friends it's time to keep it real with Reverend Al. Comment your questions now in the chat or call Reverend Al Sharpton directly on air at 877-532-5797. Now stay tuned for Reverend Al.
This is Reverend Al Sharpton. As you watch the broadcast, support National Action Network. Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net and be involved. You can join, take your membership right online, www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Getting ready to start the program, but we need you to be part of the movement. No justice, no justice, no justice. What do we want? What do we want?
We are the sons and the daughters. We gotta stand up and make it loud. Just like our God told the Pharaoh, let my people go, go. We are a new generation from the ones who have come before. He's calling us into freedom. Let my people go, go. We're gonna shine and shade. Give me a papa God, rain, make the heavens. If you don't say you know what trouble, let my people go, go. The blood, sweat, and the tears that we gathered through the years. If you don't say you know what trouble, let my people go, go. Wade in the water, we did wade in the water, children.
Friday with the world's civil rights leader, the Reverend Al Sharpton.
All right, you're live, Rev.
Keeping it real, keeping it real. I am your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're live on this Exhale Friday. Don't forget tomorrow, Saturday and Sunday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Watch Politics Nation with Al Sharpton live at 5 p.m. Eastern Time on MSNBC. And as I said, both nights I have members of Congress and, of course, experts about what is this whole Stop the Gap bill was about, what Schumer did, and where do we go now? Because it only is extended until September. What are they going to do about Elon Musk and the whole question of closing down the Department of Education? And what will that mean disproportionately for the black community? Also going to have on George Floyd's brother, Terrence, to talk about Elon Musk saying that the killer of George Floyd should be pardoned. And I'm going to have on the head of National Education Association, Becky Pringle, largest teachers union in the country, talking about they are ending the Department of Education under Donald Trump. You don't want to miss either night, 5 p.m. Eastern Time on MSNBC. And, of course, tomorrow morning, you that are in New Jersey, Connecticut, New York, meet me or beat me to the Saturday Action Rally in the morning, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m., House of Justice at 145th Street, Lenox Avenue in Harlem. Among the things I'm going to deal with tomorrow are certainly all of that I named about the question of where we're going with the Department of Defense having taken down until people raise sand about the whole question of why Jackie Robinson and others were taken down off their site. I'm also going to deal with the case that on the 27th this week, they're having a hearing for one of the people convicted of killing Yusef Hawkins in a racial killing in 1989, trying now to say he was not the killer. All these years later now. And they are giving a hearing. His mother will be at the rally in the morning asking for our support. I marched. I don't know. I think it was 34 weeks. 29th week, I was stabbed leading a march. Whites came out every week heckling us. We'll be there at the rally in the morning giving instructions. Make sure you're there, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. in Harlem at the House of Justice, 145th Street and Lenox Avenue. You that are not in the New York area, you can watch it live on Impact Television. And in terms of the Yusef Hawkins case, it's still on HBO. Just go to HBO and write in Storm Over Brooklyn, and they have a whole documentary on the Yusef Hawkins case on HBO original, Storm Over Brooklyn. And, of course, the National Action Network convention. And every day now we're getting more people confirmed to come. I've already told you about Patti LaBelle will be there, and Ben Crump will be doing the criminal justice panel, and Stacey Abrams will be doing the panel with me on where we're going in American politics. Michael Eric Dyson be there. We have several members of Congress. Congressman Al Green, who is held in contempt for speaking up during Trump's speech to the joint session of Congress. Al Green will be there. Congressman Jim Clyburn will be there. The chairman of the Congressional Black Caucus, Congresswoman Yvette Clarke will be there. Congresswoman Joyce Beatty. A lot of members of Congress, senators. You need to be there. It's all free. If you have not registered, register now. I do believe by the weekend we may be out of space, so register now. Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net, www.nationalactionnetwork.net, or you can call the toll-free number at 1-877-626-4651, 1-877-626-4651. Let's go to Rick in Germany. Rick, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Good day, Reverend Sharpton.
Good day.
The worm parasite poison is coming out of my intestines and up into my mouth and nostrils. But I'm going to sit on my anger about that. I am no violation to your FCC rules. You say we have the right to speak whatever's in our mind and heart, so long as we are respectful of the rules and regulations. And you, with the bully pulpit, have the right to dismiss whatever we say. Let me say this. Madam VP Harris has learned and is learning how American government works today after amendments and law have evolved over the past 200 years. I pray that the Secret Services and the CIA is able to protect her life up until 2028, should she choose to run again. Second, communications and education of the voting public has also evolved like lightning since the 1920s. Print, press, radio, television and cable, internet and internet radio that is trustworthy for the moment has evolved. Black America, you have power in the old world radio. The black poor, you must wake up and listen before you lose this power of National Negro Radio. I'm done, brother man.
All right, thank you for your call. Let me go to Bishop Manny. Bishop Manny in Los Angeles, California.
Yes, Reverend Al, Bishop Sherman Manning. I talked to you a few weeks ago about Hosea Williams and Jesse and all of that. I had Michael Jackson's lawyer, the one who beat all those cases, Tom Mesereau on my little podcast here in Los Angeles a couple of weeks ago. And strangely, he said to me, Bishop, you should get Reverend Al Sharpton on your podcast. I said, he wouldn't do my podcast. He said, well, you thought I wouldn't do it. But if you did it, let me tell you what I'd like to talk about on the podcast. I'd like to talk about that letter you mentioned earlier, the Tawana Brawley, all of that stuff. And what I mean by that is, Reverend Al, I'm 51 now. Not that old, but old enough to remember when this country took you for a joke.
Yep.
When they thought you were just a loud mouth, a nobody. And I have watched God push you into your destiny to become the most respected civil rights leader in this country. I didn't call to preach, but I just want to say to you, I wish you would tell. I have one criticism of you, and that is you haven't told the story enough. These black boys, Reverend Sharpton, in these jails and prisons and coming out need to know what you had to go through to get to where you are right now.
Well, Bishop, I appreciate what you're saying, and I will definitely do your podcast because you're right. People need to know when they see me on MSNBC now or doing what I do, what they went through. I mean, to accuse me of somebody getting killed that I wasn't even in the state, less known there, this Crown Heights lie, to accuse me of being able to convince somebody to go in a store, firebomb and kill people and himself. So I don't know what kind of magic I got can make somebody kill himself. I mean, it's just ignorant. And to be mad at me for believing in a little girl and her mother and 2 lawyers.
Right.
And in terms of taxes, I'm on radio every day, 7 days a week. I'm on television, my show twice a week, and other shows twice. So obviously the tax man ain't running after me. I ain't hiding. So how ignorant can you be? I mean, you got to be ignorant. Yeah, they know what people that owe taxes and done all that kind of stuff, they usually hide. They are not on media all the time. So I'd be glad to do your show. Y'all pick up the bishop, get his number, and text it to me so I can have my office call him, and I want to do his show. I appreciate the spirit of his call. Because he's right. We need to talk about where we come from and what we had to overcome, maybe to encourage some of these young people to keep going. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back.
Breaking news. The issues, the stories.
More than a pudgy exhibitionist who can be counted on to show up, bullhorn in hand, at every racial incident.
I often quote Mark Twain saying, the 2 most important moments in life is the moment you are born and the moment you find out why you were born. I had a very troubling conversation the other day that prompted me to do this little video. Young man that I've known a while came to me and he was crushed. I mean, really crushed because people were criticizing his work. He's in the ministry, but he's also an actor. And he said he couldn't understand why people were jumping all over, criticizing him, trying to find scandalous and derogatory things about him. And I told him, I said, you know, you very young. You don't know the road I've traveled. They call me everything but a child of God.
Racial discord, a blabbermouth, a loudmouth, too flamboyant, an agitator, a racist,
I had to learn.
Right.
I was not defined by how others saw me. I was defined by how I saw myself and whether I was being true to myself. Some of you watching this don't like me. And it doesn't matter as long as I know what I'm doing. And I like me for being real. So I'm doing this video to say to you, whoever you are, and whatever you do, you may not be in ministry or social justice, none of this stuff, but don't live your life worried about opposition or people that don't like you. You can turn that around. Use me as an example. The same people that call me a scam artist, a con artist, a sellout, or racial hustler and all, I kept going. And the people I respected started respecting and publicly embracing my work.
When Coretta Scott King, the widow of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., had this to say about Al Sharpton.
A leader who has protested injustice with a passionate, unrelenting commitment to nonviolent action in the spirit and tradition of Martin Luther King Jr. And I am talking about your leader, our leader, the Reverend Al Sharpton.
The other thing that hasn't changed is the National Action Network's commitment to fight injustice and inequality here in New York City and across America. And that's not only a testament to Reverend Sharpton, it's a testament to all of you who are here tonight.
First and foremost, to Reverend Sharpton. I saw him when he first came on the scene, and I have marveled at his tenacity, at the development of his intellect, and his devotion to our movement, and much he has contributed to the world we are experiencing. I am honored, and I must say that when I had my debate with Dr. King on the issue of the church and religion, he didn't warn me that after his departure, his space would be filled by another preacher, and that preacher would be Al Sharpton.
All you want in life is people that matter to you to say you did all right. And more important, that you can look in the mirror and say you did all right.
Thank you, Rev. Thanks for that introduction. Look, we've known each other for a long time. I'm grateful not only for your leadership and partnership, but quite frankly, more importantly, for your friendship. And thanks to all of you, members of our nation's most important civil rights organization.
You have been, over all of your years, such an extraordinary leader. You are a voice of truth, a voice of conscience, a voice of practicality around what we must address and what we can do. And I thank you so much for your friendship.
I remember that most of the youth around Al's age, he was about 12, wanted to be like Connie Hawkins, a great basketball player, legend, or Earl the Pearl, or Clyde Frazier. Al wanted to be like Adam Powell, a powerful preacher with a social justice gospel. He was very close to, at that time, the Reverend William Augustus Jones, powerful preacher and social justice advocate, and Reverend Gardner Taylor, who stayed right down the street, and Bishop Washington, whose church he came from, and Reverend Sandy Ray. He wanted to be like these giant preachers. He wanted them to have the edge, however, of the King's social justice dimension. He wanted to be like them, now he's one of them. Perhaps taller than most of them because of the risks he has taken and the reward God has given him with his gift. I remember so well that I first escorted him to jail. He was around 13 years old, with the jail fighting the ANP. He was in the lineage of our struggle. He grew up in it. We didn't just see him on TV one night. He didn't happen. He came bottom up, not top down.
Stop telling yourself you're not confident of what you could do. When people with half your skills and a quarter of your talent have gone on to create big waves in life, if you look at them and you know you're more gifted than them, then what is your problem? You are looking for someone to come and drag you into success. You've got to use what you have, which is, in my judgment, more skillful than others I've known in your area. Use that and believe in that, and your confidence will build up as you get going and start doing. And don't chase the spotlight. Sharpen your skills. Live in your purpose. And you'll get so good the spotlight will be chasing you. Be so good they can't help but talk about you and put the spotlight on you. You don't get your energy from chasing the spotlight. You get your energy by chasing your purpose. The spotlight and other adulation will come with it. Have a great day. Hi, this is Reverend Al Sharpton. Be ready for the National Action Network's National Convention, April 2nd through the 5th, 2025, in New York at the Sharpton. This year, and the 57th anniversary of the assassination of Dr. King, they're trying to take back everything he stood and died for. We convene every year in April to make sure they know that they killed the dreamer, not the dream. We have workshops on everything from business development to dealing with our legal needs, from police reform all the way to how we deal with sentencing, how we deal with immigration, how we deal with the arts and entertainment. We have big names that come every year, but don't come for the big names, come for the big plans and the big execution. Register now, because with this year, as we are under assault with DEI, under assault with ending the Civil Rights Division of the Justice Department, under assault with now consent decrees and all the neutralized. If there ever was a time that you should come to a National Action Network convention, now's the time. We don't need a lot of philosophizing. We don't need a lot of showing how smart you are. We need action. We plan action, and then we go and do action. I'm looking for you. Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net. We have no registration fee. You don't pay to register. Just get here, and let's get it on. National Action Network Convention, April 2nd through the 5th. I'm going to look for you there.
You're live, Rev.
Keeping it real, keeping it real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, 1-877-532-5797. Let's go back some comments. James Thomas says Donald Trump owes more taxes than anyone on this earth, but yet no one ain't saying nothing about that, though. And yet, again, don't let it get twisted. Whatever taxes I owed years ago, I paid. You know, they indicted Martin Luther King in the 50s for income tax. They went after Adam Clayton Powell. They always do that. If I owed some taxes, you better believe the 4 years Donald Trump was in, he'd have had them come after me. So don't waste your time on ignorance, James. But thank you for your writing. Jewel Wall says, it was an honor, privilege, and pleasure to see you, Reverend Al Sharpton, on the Santita Jackson and Friends show, the daughter of Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr. Yeah, I've known Santita since she was a kid. When I first met and started working with her father, I was 12 years old when I first met him, and he was 26, and we've been together ever since. I talked to him this morning, in fact. You know, he's got Parkinson's, sometimes hard to understand him, but I try to talk to him 3 or 4 days a week. Let's go back to the phones. Let's go to Tommy in Chicago. Tommy, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Well, pleasant afternoon to you, Reverend Sharpton, and especially to your listening audience. You know, normally I would say, here's your unauthorized edition of www.howdumbcanyoube. But Rev, about right now, it's your authorized edition.
Yeah.
Because you can't make this stuff up.
No, you can't.
Rev, Rev, seriously, I mean, you know, I kudos the bishop. Well, Rev, I've known you many a year, Rev, and I've heard you. I see you. I know personally, as you know, as anyone who has any sort of grasp for the welfare of a black man or woman who's in the public eye trying to do something correct, trying to do something right, how they will berate and lie and tear you down. And Lord have mercy if it turns out to be the truth.
Mm-hmm.
So we can just get past all of that and just get to the point of, you see, it's an amazing thing when you talk about, Jesus and the Word of God, because when you go to Galatians, it says he's talking to the disciples, but there's also a time where he's talking to the Pharisees and the Sadducees, and they're asking him to show him a sign, and he says to them, "Why would I do that? And you can't even discern these times." So you would think that at a moment like this, that these times would be the moment for especially ethnicity that seems to clearly be under attack for no reason. And when you look at these things, then you sit back and you look and you see, well, you cannot get an individual to understand that since you want to fly flags and be a Republican or a Democrat, this is the best thing that could ever happen for the Democrats. All they really got to do is sit back and just shut up.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they don't even understand how to play poker. Just be quiet.
Right.
Break out some of Nancy Pelosi's tapes. I mean, when I say this is not berating. See, it comes a point in time, Rev, when you're in a situation like we're in right now, because, see, it ain't about your personal nothing. It's about a nation.
Right.
It is about the commonwealth of an entire nation. And you think that this would be a moment that I would ask all of the listening audience all over the nation, break out your favorite song. If you don't have a favorite song, whatever it is that can give you some joy right now, and recognize and understand that those that would take your joy will cares less.
Right.
And so this is not a moment for us to get crazy and do the one thing that they want us to do, which is to be like them, because that's the only thing they can be. See, losers, when they lose, the only next thing they can do is figure out how to cheat. But winners, when they lose, they win because they win with decency and respect. I'll catch you next time. Didn't get you this time, but I'll catch you next time. And so, Rev, as I close and thank you for the time, here's the only thing you got to ask any of these individuals, I don't care what color they are, what did you get? Since they always want to say, Rev, what are you doing? What Rev, when you stop and you think about an election and we voted in this election and afterwards the country is supposed to come together and let's just push forward to the common man, I want to leave you with this. Riddle me this. How is it that the common man is being wiped out? I don't care what color you are. And you were told this, and you can't see this. This is not how dumb you are. This is not how insane you are. This is really goodbye.
Right. All right. Thank you, Tommy. Let me go to Jerry in Cleveland. Jerry, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton on Exhale Friday.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well.
I guess I don't need to say anything because that guy kind of stole my thunder. So, but what I want to say is, I think the problem with a lot of people is a lot of people will see laws or policies trying to be put in place to hurt people, and they don't seem to care about it until they find out it hurts them also.
Wow, that's right.
Because the way I look at it, we're all connected. And to be honest with you, although they're attacking blacks, it's rich against poor just as much. And so I say that to say, I'm surprised I don't hear some of the politicians speaking about the boycott you're talking about. You would appreciate that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I would. And I am very clear, very, very curious as to why they aren't. But we're going to come out of the convention with some anyway, whether they with it or not. You would think they would want to promote it because you would think they would want to stand up for their own constituents.
And Bernie Sanders especially, because I was just thinking, you and Bernie Sanders together would bring them to their knees. I don't think they could do anything with that. You both speak the same language.
Yeah, I'm going to call Bernie. I saw Bernie did a big rally in Arizona. I'm going to call Bernie. You're right. I never even thought about it. I'm going to see. He came to our convention 3-4 years ago. I'm going to see if I can get Bernie up here and we talk some talk.
You two would be so powerful, and although you'd have to be careful from then on, because you know how Trump tries to sick these people on you guys.
Yeah, well, you got to do what you got to do.
Also, to say that, to me, it shows how cowardly a lot of these Republicans are. Because if those two ladies that worked the poll were able to stand up for their rights, and they really didn't have any money, and you know what I mean when I say have money, and these multimillionaires are so scared of Trump that they won't even stand up for what's right and what's wrong. To me, that just shows cowardice. And how can you support a coward?
Absolutely right.
Donald Trump's a coward. And all he does is beat up on little people. And Elon Musk, like that one caller said, he'll just expose himself.
Absolutely right. Thank you for your call. Let me take a break. I'm coming back. More Exhale Friday. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back.
He has set me free. God has smiled on me. He's been good to me. Let me tell you, God has smiled on me. He has set me free. God has smiled on me. He's done good to me. Let me tell you, God has smiled on me. Sometimes He has set me free. I feel so good. God has smiled on me. Oh yeah. Good to me. One more time. Yeah. Smiled on me. Every day of my life, I feel it. You give me strength and energy. Help me to sing. He's been good to me. Oh yeah.
This is Reverend Al Sharpton of Brooklyn, New York. I've been traveling around the country talking to the radio announcers, the church people, and the street people, telling them that God has smiled on me. God has smiled on you if you got breath in your body. If He woke you up this morning and started you on your way. But I want to tell you some stories of people that God smiled on. We know the story of Dr. Martin Luther King, how he started way back in Montgomery, Alabama in 1955, trying just to get dignity, trying to get respect. And he went all the way to the mountaintop. But he didn't forget about the brothers in the valley. He didn't forget about those trapped in the alley. And I hear Brother Martin King say, God has smiled on me. He's been good to me. Let me tell you, God has smiled on me. It's been so good to me. Then I see as Dr. King went on, another man stepped into the forefront by the name of John F. Kennedy, who rose up and said, let's not stand back. Let's not wait for a handout. Let's wait for a way out. He said, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. He said, don't us gravel and don't us moan, because God done smile on us. Let me say it. God has smiled on me. He has set me free. Let me say it. Yeah. One more time. I want to say it real slow. I'll say God has smiled on me. He has set me free. Pick it up. God has And she said, son, even though we don't have much, we don't need relief. All we need is belief. And she said, he didn't tell you no lie, because the Lord will take care of you. God sits high, but he looks down low. And every time you get discouraged, every time you're burning down, all you have to do is think of the things that God made a way for you and look toward the heavens. Lift your eyes to the hills and say, God, 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 come smile on me. Now then the God has smiled on me. He has set me free. God has smiled on me. That has been so good to me. Yes, he has. I say, God smile on me. He has set me free. And I know all over the country, smile on me. We need jobs. We need a way to make it. We need help. We need jobs. We need a way to make some money to feed our families and raise our bread. We need a way to survive, so we don't need crime as a survival kit. We just need a little bit. But don't give the hope up. Don't lose the faith, because God will smile on you. God will give you the strength. God will make a way for you. Adam Clayton Powell said, keep the faith. Keep the faith, baby. I hear Robert Kennedy saying that it's not the dream of, but it's the dream that'll live on forever. Just know that God will smile on you. Dr. King had a dream. Dr. King said, I went to the mountaintop, but I didn't stop there. I looked over and saw the promised land. I hear Brother Malcolm saying, don't sit on the stoop. Stand up and be a man. Respect yourself. Be somebody. Then I hear the brothers in the Hispanic community say, I'm going to stand up and be a man. I'm going to do the best I can. I had a reaper say, I don't care what time you come home, but just give me some respect when you get there. Now God has smiled on me. He has set me free. God smiled on me. You've been so good to me. Sit down. And as we move on in history, let us remember that if we look to God, God has the answer to all of our problems. God is still the same God he was years ago, and we can still make it. We can still hold on like Frederick Douglass did. We can still keep him on like Martin Luther King did. We can still ride on the way everyone that made it did. They didn't have much, but they had a whole lot of faith. They didn't have money, but they had a lot of determination. We know that God will look out for his children, that God will make a way out of no way. If you just keep the faith and refuse to lose, and God will make a way, because God's children don't have color. God's children just have will. And I can still hear somewhere in my mind James Brown say, God,
I'm your host,
and smile on
Reverend
me.
Al Sharpton. Let's read some more of the comments. Melissa Hamilton said, keeping it real with Reverend Al Sharpton. Von Morrow says, Revelations 21:4. That's a good one. Holy Bible. The Mayor Rodney Jones says, Reverend Sharpton is the thermostat. You can't take the heat of his responses. You need to sit down and be quiet. Wanted to use another phrase, but I'm not going to disrespect my path of Nan. That's the mayor there of Queensbridge Houses. Paul Bunyan. Is it Puel Bunyan? Says Reverend Al was raiding crack houses in Crown Heights when the police was too scared to do it. Sharpton's got a lion's heart, my man. Thank you for that. That's right. In the 80s, we were painting crack houses. When the crack epidemic hit New York, and they were talking about they didn't know what to do, I said, y'all know what to do? Y'all know where they selling crack houses? Where y'all selling crack? They would go to corner grocery stores and sell it over the counter. And everybody knew it. And everybody in my youth group knew it. So we started saying to reporters, meet us on the corner of Saratoga and Livonia in Brownsville. One of my youth would walk a half a block with one reporter, put $5 on the counter, $10 on the counter. The guy in the grocery store would give him crack. Then he'd walk back to us. I said, now, are they selling crack there? The reporter told other reporters, yeah, they ain't lying. Then we'd march everybody down there and paint red X's, exposing them. And any of them could have shot and killed us. So, I mean, I've been doing this a long time. Have I made some mistakes? Yes. But I corrected my mistakes. That's why I'm still here. God, I believe, will bless you if you're faithful over a few things. Let's go to Ruth in Atlanta, Georgia. Ruth, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Thank you, Reverend Sharpton. This is Ruth Hunter. My husband and I are your favorites. You know, we love you. We watch you all the time. But I wanted to tell you also, now I was listening to all of the one that called ahead of me. And they're sounding like, to me, there's a jealous spirit that's going around because of what you are doing. You are one of God's chosen. And he chose you because he knew you would do the work. That's the reason why you are doing what you're doing, because it is right. You tell the truth that God wants you. You see, they talked about Jesus Christ, so you know they're going to talk about you.
Oh, yeah. That's for sure.
Don't worry about it. Don't even give it the second thought. You go on and do what God would have you to do. And that is doing what you're doing.
Well, thank you.
And I wanted to tell you also, I don't know, maybe I'm supposed to do it. I was shown in a vision of you in a white robe. And in this vision, you was up, walking across, you know, to go to the podium to preach. And you was glowing. The white was so beautiful on you. And I said, you know, I'm looking at it, and he's showing me this. And it was like, that vision was so clear.
Wow.
And it was handmade. It wasn't made by a machine. It was handmade. So I feel, maybe I'm wrong, but maybe I feel that God wants me to make this for you. I have made robes before.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes, sir. I've crocheted them. And I said, Lord, are you telling me? Because I asked it before. He said, why not you?
Why not you? Wow. Well, I tell you, Ruth, if you feel that that's what God's telling you to do, you make it. I'll wear it. I promise you that.
Well, I was the one who sent you the special gift. Yeah, I don't know if you've got it.
Yeah. That, Ruth, I got it.
You got it today?
I got it. They have it at headquarters. They called me and told me there's a special gift here from Ruth. Yeah, I'll have it later today when I get off the air.
Well, I wish you would let me know.
All right. I will.
You know,
I'll look at it and let you know. But thank you for your call and your prayers and your husband's prayers. Thank you. Let's stay in Atlanta. Let's go to Faye in Atlanta. Faye.
Hi, Rev.
Hi.
I hope you're doing all right.
I'm doing fine.
Let me know. I'm having problem with this phone, but I really want to talk today. So let me know. Let me know if this phone is coming through okay.
Yeah, you're coming through.
Okay, thanks. I want to do a little pushback on. I wanted a couple of things, but I'm gonna hopefully make it fast. I want to do a little pushback on Schumann.
All right.
Now I'm one of those men who think that he voted the wrong way.
Right.
And this is one of the main reasons why I think so. That's a man that's up in age. I know he convinced you that he went by his heart and this and that. But this is a man that's up in age. He'd been established his morals and values and principles. And he'd been saying that he was going to vote against the reconciliation. He'd been saying it. And for some reason, the night before the vote, he came to some kind of, I can't think of the word I want to use now. I had it in my mind all afternoon, all morning. It took me so long to get through and I forgot. but he came to some kind of religious, I guess religious um, 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 idea that it won't be a good idea to vote to shut the country down. It came the night before. The thing about it is, if he really believed that this bill was such a bad bill, why for a month or 2 months he didn't speak on it like that? If that's how he really felt about it morally and spiritually and economically and all that kind of stuff. Why didn't he think about it? Why wasn't that was his position 2 months ago? A man that's up in age, that's have established moral values and principles, that know what he wants. Why did he decide the night before that this wasn't what he wants? I think he's a liar. I don't believe him when he said that he think it was going to be bad for us if he voted to shut it down. I don't believe him. He's lying. This is what I heard, Rev. And this is what I heard, and I haven't heard anybody spoke on it, and I don't know why. I don't think I'm the only one. I'm not that savvy anymore in politics and this and that. So I don't know why nobody else hasn't spoken it. But what I heard is that his donors stopped him from voting for it. And that makes more sense to me than he decided the night before that it won't be a good idea because of what it will do to us economically and so forth.
So you think some of his donors got to him?
That's what I'm hearing. I heard this right after he voted, about a few days after he voted.
Mm-hmm.
I heard that's the reason why he voted for it, is because his donors told him not to vote for it. That's why he did it. He had nothing to do with what he thinks economically was going to happen to us. And I wish that maybe you did, and I just haven't heard of it, but I wish you had pushed back at him to ask him if he felt that way, that it was going to be the wrong thing for us. Why he said it the night before? Why didn't he say it a month or two ago? If that's how you really felt about it.
You raised a good point. He did call me, and we debated it back and forth, but I did not raise that point. I will. I'm sure I'll be talking to him probably in the next few days. That's a very good point, because they did not make that decision until they didn't make that decision until the night before, because they were all against the bill and then switched, which is why I said, well, wait a minute, I don't understand this. What's going on here? Yeah, I'm going to ask that question.
He lied to you. He lied to all of us. I believe his donors told him not to do it. I believe what I heard, that his donors told him not to do it.
All right, Faye.
Yeah, of course,
I'm going to ask that question. Hello?
Terrorist. I'm here. Can you hear me?
I hear you now, yes.
Okay, all right. I'm on a raggedy phone. Another thing I want to mention about this terrorist thing against Tesla. We need to stand up with these guys that did that. Now maybe they were wanting to take that route, but we need to stand up for them, and we need to say what Elon Musk is doing is domestic terrorism too. We need to call that out.
Okay.
We need to say that's domestic terrorism too. Let us say that to court with them when they go to court. That we're behind that Elon Musk is committing domestic terrorism from what he's doing to us. People are going to die from what he's doing to us. A lot of people are going to die from what he's doing to us. As far as I know with them cars, nobody died. As far as I know about them cars. But people are going to die from what he's doing to us. If it's stuff with Social Security and these kids with not having a lunch at school or breakfast at school.
No, they're cutting that. They could care less about people. And that is going to kill people.
Right.
Thank you for your call. Let me read from our live stream comments. Nancy says, dinosaur Dems are ageist against new leadership. They got to go. And I think it's not just age. I do think you need new leadership, young and old. Because don't forget, you got young folks now that's running the MAGA movement. J.D. Vance ain't but 40 years old. Matt Gaetz is 42. Stephen Miller, who's the architect of all of this stuff in the White House, is 38. It's not just age, it's agenda. It's age and agenda. Absolutely right about that. But I don't want a young man doing what J.D. Vance is doing as the replacement for an older man that may be doing what Bernie Sanders is doing. So it's not just age, it's agenda. Let's get ready to take a break. I'll be right back. More of you on the phones. It is Hot Button Friday. You can write your comment at live stream at nationalactionnetwork.net, or you can call me at 1-877-532-5797. Sharpton, keeping it real. Be right back. We're Frederick Douglass, ladies. Don't stand on the ground where Rosa Parks stands, unless you're going to really do what it is we committing to do. Because we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against wickedness, principalities, wickedness in high places. I want everyone, if you're resolved, to just raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name, Al Sharpton, do solemnly commit that I will stand up and rise up in the name of Dr. King, in the name of Frederick Douglass, in the name of Rosa Parks, and I will defend equality for all, diversity, equality, inclusion, women's rights, LGBTQ rights, immigration rights. I commit, I take this oath that I will not become like those I'm fighting. I'm not for violence, but I will peacefully stand against those that want to bring us down. I commit this in the house of God, on this sacred ground. So help me God. Congratulate yourself. While you're standing, I want all the ministers to come. Let's join arms. When they would march in the South, I used to think it was a little too Hi, this is Reverend Al Sharpton.
Moderate
Be
for me.
ready for the National Action Network's National Convention, April 2nd through the 5th, 2025, in New York at the Sheraton. This year, and the 57th anniversary of the assassination of Dr. King, they're trying to take back everything he stood and died for. We convene every year in April to make sure they know that they killed the dreamer, not the dream. We have workshops on everything from business development to dealing with our legal needs, from police reform all the way to how we deal with sentencing, how we deal with immigration, how we deal with the arts and entertainment. We have big names that come every year, but don't come for the big names, come for the big plans and the big execution. Register now, because with this year, as we are under assault with DEI, under assault with ending the Civil Rights Division of the Justice Department, under assault with now consent decrees and all are neutralized. If there ever was a time that you should come to a National Action Network convention, now's the time. We don't need a lot of philosophizing. We don't need a lot of showing how smart you are. We need action. We plan action and then we go and do action. I'm looking for you. Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net. We have no registration fee. You don't pay to register. Just get here and let's get it on. National Action Network Convention, April 2nd through the 5th. I'm going to look for you there. Hi, this is Reverend Al Sharpton. Be ready for the National Action Network's National Convention, April 2nd through the 5th, 2025, in New York at the Sharpton. This year, and the 57th anniversary of the assassination of Dr. King, they're trying to take back everything he stood and died for. We convene every year in April to make sure they know that they killed the dreamer, not the dream. We have workshops on everything from business development to dealing with our legal needs, from police reform all the way to how we deal with sentencing, how we deal with immigration, how we deal with the arts and entertainment. We have big names that come every year, but don't come for the big names, come for the big plans and the big execution. Register now, because with this year, as we are under assault with DEI, under assault with ending the Civil Rights Division of the Justice Department, under assault with now consent decrees and all the neutralized. If there ever was a time that you should come to a National Action Network convention, now's the time. We don't need a lot of philosophizing. We don't need a lot of showing how smart you are. We need action. We plan action and then we go and do action. I'm looking for you. Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net. We have no registration fee. You don't pay to register. Just get here and let's get it on. National Action Network Convention, April 2nd through the 5th. I'm going to look for you there.
Thank you for joining us for Weekdays Live with Reverend Al Sharpton. Take the time to share this broadcast right now. Tell your friends it's time to keep it real with Reverend Al. Comment your questions now in the chat or call Reverend Al Sharpton directly on air at 877-532-5797. Now stay tuned for Reverend Al.
This is Reverend Al Sharpton. As you watch the broadcast, support National Action Network. Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net and be involved. You can join, take your membership right online, www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Getting ready to start the program, but we need you to be part of the movement. That's when Haile Selassie, the Emperor of Ethiopia, came here, Adam Clayton Powell Jr., who was pastor here now, at Ethiopian Coptic Cross. That was my first year on civil rights and politics.
As I know here, you're in trouble, where it says about 30% are unemployed. That's why I'm working hard to get this surplus food here. Some of you say to me, well, I'm not like you. I'm not a congressman. I haven't got education. I haven't got work. But you're a human being. And you know what you've got? You've got in your hand the power to use your vote and to use even those few cents you get from welfare to spend them only where you want to spend them.
Know when I got them, but it shows the studio says they have them.
Live from the National Action Network corporate headquarters in New York. Keeping it real. It's XL Friday. And now, America's #1 civil rights leader, the Reverend Al Sharpton.
You live, Rev.
Keeping it real. Keeping it real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton. Let's go to Sly in Detroit, Michigan. Sly, you're keeping it real on XL Friday.
Good afternoon, Reverend Al.
Good afternoon.
My XL is more of a rhetorical question. I'll make it quick. You might get a chuckle out of it. We have all of these white folk that come into the black community to be school teachers, police officers, and firefighters in the black community, especially where there's black leadership. Can we consider them DEI hires?
You did get me to chuckle. I had never heard that one. That's a very interesting point. Yeah. That's a very interesting point.
I'll check you out over the weekend.
Yeah. Check me out.
I'll check you out on MSNBC.
All right. God bless you.
But,
that's a good one.
If you can, throw that question out to others.
I
and see
shall.
what kind of response you get.
Yeah, you keep watching TV. I might throw it out over the air this weekend. I like that. That's a good one. Let's go to Jones. Let's go to Jones in New York. Jones.
Yes, sir. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Well, you know what? I'm kind of disgusted a little bit, what's going on.
Right.
I'm a union guy. I've been 30 years in the union as a trustee and a postal worker. And what I see going on, I don't understand, my areas is, are we doing, a lawsuit because all the discrimination going on by Arlington Cemetery, if I try to screw about culture, off the cemeteries and taking out pictures of the Pentagon walls. And for Elon Musk, he's here in America, but he's not really all that but a citizen. He's a citizen, but how come he can get his thing revoked? It's getting ridiculous that they're not patriotic. To me, they're idiotic. And I think, that's my little thing. Come on, clone. And I think that's my thing. I got T-shirts made for that. I'm a fighter, Al. I'm a fighter. And I've been fighting for the union area for a long time. And I don't understand why that we allow these people to come here and do this to our people. You know what I'm saying? And the Democrats, they should get a little tougher. Because if they don't, you got to sometimes put your hands on it sometimes. Because right now, they put their hands all on our culture. They're erasing us out the history. But one thing they can't erase is our spirituality. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
So I don't know, do we got any kind of lawsuits or civil suits against them erasing our names off of Pentagon walls?
Oh, yeah. Well, that's in the making. Can't announce it till they're ready for filing. But I'll just put it this way, Jones, because I feel your spirit. Just you in Brooklyn, you in New York, be at the convention when Ben Crump is there. Make sure you're there. We'll be ready by then, week after.
I'm rolling down because I got a little talk show, too, on Queens Network. I'm rolling down. I met you 3 years ago, a long time ago, and, brother, you doing work. You're putting the work in, and that's why you made me do what I want to do.
Well, let's work together. I appreciate that. Thank you for your call. 1-877-532-5797. Let's go to Allen in Baltimore, Maryland, WOLB. Allen?
Yeah, how you doing, Reverend Al? Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes.
Yeah, let me ask you something. You know Branch Rickey, the owner of the Brooklyn Dodgers?
I know who he was. That was before my time. He was the one that brought
So
Jackie Robinson into Brooklyn Dodgers, yeah.
Right. I'm going to paint that. Donald Trump, our president, cited Baltimore saying those kids can't do basic math. And when I was in high school, it was always a stigma that education is for sports. Put a basketball and a football in a black man's hand, they might make $1 billion. So when he dismantled all this NIL money, this March Madness money, that's called athletics. And this is what I'm saying. Did Branch Rickey get the ups on Jackie Robinson, a college-educated man, a military man? Who's writing our history? Because I think they wanted to get rid of his history. But Branch Rickey was thinking about economics. If we integrate, because my grandfather said it, because they had a black league, he wanted the black fans to integrate with white football because he was looking for green. And this is why I said that if they want to get rid of education, surely they want to get rid of all these LeBron James, these Kobe Bryant, because when I was in school, I played basketball and I was smart too, but it was always a stigma that we was always athletic smart. because our ability to be physical. Even in football, think about the NIL, name, image, and likeness. Now these coaches can't make all the money now. Now the players are making their share. I want to hear your comment on that. Thank you, now.
All right. Well, no, there always was the stigma that we were all brawn and no brains, and we were both. Nobody was more athletically inclined and mentally fit than Jackie Robinson and later Hank Aaron. Or in boxing, Muhammad Ali, who was a scientist in boxing, or Jim Brown in football. So I think that they're trying to make us appear like we were only physical and not in terms of our intellect or mentality, was to play in like we were just less than a man and almost animals. But that ain't never been true. To survive 246 years of slavery, where you are against the law to be married, to name your children after you, to even know your last name because you're named after your slave master, and survive that and put people in Reconstruction in the U.S. Senate and in the Congress, build black colleges and black churches. No, animals can't do that. Only people that got serious cognitive skills can do that. So that's my answer to that. Let's go to Still Bill in Cincinnati, Ohio, the Buzz. Still Bill.
We lost him.
We lost Still Bill. I got to refresh the screen. That's all I got.
Yeah, I don't got nobody right now. We about to get 3 more, though. We got Marcia McCoy calling in, though.
All right. Let me go back to, while they're refreshing my screen on my callers, let me go back to our live stream, read some of our live stream. Let's go to Tiffany Willis wrote, I agree with Nancy. Those over-seasoned politicians refuse to give up power. They would rather perish in office than prepare a successor. This is an ongoing conversation. She's right. And I think it is the duty of people to prepare for the next generations. But the next generations also must be willing to be prepared. It's a two-way street, no doubt about it. Shamsuddin Abdul Hakim Bey says, we don't have to suffer racism. We just don't unite nor support one another effectively enough to defeat racism. I'd agree with that too. And he also says that we okay, I got it. I'm trying to get it on the screen. All right, he wrote that twice. All right, Nancy saying RFK Jr. is a heroin addict. Well, he certainly was. I don't know about now, but he admitted that he was. And Nancy's also says Pete Hegseth is a DUI hire. DEI. I like that, Nancy. I didn't think of that.
Reverend Williams, too.
All right, let me go back to the board. I bring on our co-host who's trying to hook him in with us the last hour every Friday for Exhale Friday. He's the senior pastor of the historic King Solomon Baptist Church in Detroit, Michigan, head of national expansion and Michigan State chair of National Action Network, the Reverend Charles Williams II. How you doing, Reverend?
All is well, man. It's good to be with you always on this Exhale Friday. So much going on across the country. I'm sure you've heard, and many of people have exhaled about the graveyard and the memorial in Washington, D.C. A lot of folks been talking about the website scrubbers, the DEI, everything that's been going on. But we've got to move with action. So, Rev, I'm fired up and ready to go as we are only a few short weeks outside of our national convention, and want to invite folks to come out and join us April 2nd through the 5th, as we prepare to get to action, get into action. We got to get into the room. We got folks from all over the country. I've been in the planning meetings with all of the staff, and we've got folks from across the country, some of the best minds around in academics and HBCUs and business, and just so much. Civil rights community, measure the movement, as always. So much to get the data that we need so that we can go into action. And so I want to invite folks to get to the website if you haven't, nationalactionnetwork.net. Let's register and let's get ready for this action. They doing action. We got to do our action too.
All right, let's take a break. I'm coming back, going back to the phones and to the comments board on our live stream. Let's take the break. Keeping it real. Keeping it real. Keeping it real. Sharpton, Williams.
Breaking news.
What do we want? What do we want? We are the sons and the daughters. We gotta stand up and make it loud. Just like our God told the Pharaoh, let my people go, go. We are a new generation from the ones who have come before. He's calling us into freedom, let my people go, go. We gonna shine up and shade. Give me a papa glory, make the heavens. If you don't say you know what trouble, let my people go, go. The blood, sweat, and the tears that we gathered through the years. If you don't say you know what trouble, let my people go, go. Wade in the water, we did wade in the water, children.
I had a thought this morning that I want to share with you about mentorship. I am able to do a lot of what I do because I had great mentors, but there are correct ways and incorrect ways to mentor people, in my opinion. I was mentored as a boy preacher by Bishop F.D. Washington, one of the great Pentecostal preachers of his time. Then Reverend William Jones, who became my pastor after Bishop Washington died, who was unquestionably in the top 5 black church ministers, theologians. Reverend Jesse Jackson, who I started my activism under his leadership, he and Reverend Jones. And I learned politics directly as a youth director from Shirley Chisholm. So even though I didn't finish college, I had the most unique education in the world from being exposed to giants. But the one thing I learned is as I grew older and people started coming younger than me and wanted me to teach and mentor them, the magic of the mentors I had is they did not want me to be their clone. They wanted me to learn things from them and use my own gifts and talents in my own unique way and let me do things on my own, because they knew that if I flopped in some things, it would teach me with other things. They'll come and help me once I was down, but they were not going to have me avoid being down. And they were not going to impose themselves on me. Why am I saying that? Because too many mentors want clones. And too many mentees want their mentors to put them on a pedestal. Oh, so-and-so didn't do this for me. Oh, so-and-so didn't open doors for me. If they got to open doors for you, it may mean that they knew you weren't ready to go through those doors. Their job is to prepare you. Your job is to develop your own skills, your own unique ways. And I don't care if it's my daughters, who both have come into their own, or anyone else. I'm not a talent agent. I did not form National Action Network to give people their step up. I formed it to fight for justice for everybody. If talented people get in, it's my job to invest and give them a platform. It's their job to get on the platform and perform and show their ability. Sitting with me today in the office as I talk about it is one of my mentees, Reverend Stephen Marshall. Now, Stephen, you just came around us when you were how old?
11 years old.
11 years old. You just turned 40 and now you're called to the ministry?
Yes, sir.
And what do you do in National Action Network?
I formulate policies lead in various regions, but most importantly, I senior advisor to you on all things from social justice strategies, politics, intergovernmental affairs, you name it, community organizing, all of that stuff.
And I could go through scores of others. My daughter started Huddle. They got Huddles now, which is for young people to meet once a week all over the country. I just saw the video from the Las Vegas National Action Network chapter. Now, when you decided to preach, did I ever tell you to become a preacher?
Not one time.
Who called you to preach?
The Lord.
All right. And did I say go to this school or that school?
No, sir.
Did I open this door, that door? Did I tell you be ready when the door's open?
Always be ready and prepared.
And that's what I'm saying. Get you some young people and you that you can help along the way, but don't be their talent agent. Their talent must speak for themselves. And anybody that grumbles with you about so-and-so didn't do something for them, maybe it's because they didn't feel you were ready, or that they felt if they did it, you wouldn't do it on your own. But we all don't live forever. I want the next generation to speak of me, of National Action Network, and others, the way I speak of Reverend Jones and Bishop Washington and Shirley Chisholm and Reverend Jackson. But I just don't want young people to feel that somebody ought to give them the reins of leadership or give them the reins of business or whatever it is you're in. You need to learn from their journey, get the pearls of wisdom from them, but don't have them do for you, because then it means you can't do it for yourself. Hi, this is Reverend Al Sharpton. Be ready for the National Action Network's National Convention, April 2nd through the 5th, 2025, in New York at the Sheraton. This year, and the 57th anniversary of the assassination of Dr. King, they're trying to take back everything he stood and died for. We convene every year in April to make sure they know that they killed the dreamer, not the dream. We have workshops on everything from business development to dealing with our legal needs, from police reform all the way to how we deal with sentencing, how we deal with immigration, how we deal with the arts and entertainment. We have big names that come every year, but don't come for the big names, come for the big plans and the big execution. Register now. Because with this year, as we are under assault with DEI, under assault with ending the Civil Rights Division of the Justice Department, under assault with now consent decrees and all are neutralized, if there ever was a time that you should come to a National Action Network convention, now's the time. We don't need a lot of philosophizing. We don't need a lot of showing how smart you are. We need action. We plan action and then we go and do action. I'm looking for you. Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net. We have no registration fee. You don't pay to register. Just get here and let's get it on. National Action Network Convention, April 2nd through the 5th. I'm going to look for you there.
Thank you for joining us for Weekdays Live with Reverend Al Sharpton. Take the time to share this broadcast right now. Tell your friends it's time to keep it real with Reverend Al. Comment your questions now in the chat or call Reverend Al Sharpton directly on air at 877-532-5797. Now stay tuned for Reverend Al.
This is Reverend Al Sharpton. As you watch the broadcast, support National Action Network. Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net and be involved. You can join, take your membership right online, www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Getting ready to start the program, but we need you to be part of the movement. That's when Haile Selassie, the Emperor of Ethiopia, came to me, Adam Clayton Powell Jr., who was pastor here now, at Ethiopian Coptic Cross. That was my first year on Civil Rights and Politics.
As I know here, you're in trouble, where it says about 30% are unemployed. That's why I'm working hard to get this surplus food here. Some of you say to me, well, I'm not like you. I'm not a congressman. I haven't got education. I haven't got work.
Keeping it real. Keeping it real. I'm your host.
You know what you got?
Reverend Charles Williams II is our co-host. Let's go to Jewel in New York. New York. Jewel, you're keeping it real with Sharpton and Williams.
Yes, good afternoon, Reverend Sharpton. I love you so much. I just want to say how much a blessing it is and a privilege to be able to listen and follow with your ministry as a leader in these times. I just want to thank you once again. I was so excited on Wednesday afternoon when I saw you on the Sunita and Jackson show, Sunita Jackson and Friends show.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's Jess's
Yes,
oldest child. I've known her before she was 10. I grew up watching her. I'm a little old. I'm about 10 years older than her, and her father was 13, 14 years older than me. So we done come through a long time together.
Yes, I'm still so excited watching it. A shameless plug, I want everybody to tune in to the Sunita Jackson and Friends show and check out that replay on Wednesday around 4 o'clock. It was marvelous. Also, since I have you on the phone, the song that you sang with James Brown, God has smiled on me, that song this afternoon, you can also list it not only as an inspirational song, rap song, gospel song, but also a children's lullaby. Come on. Yes.
I like
yes,
that.
yes,
I
yes.
like that. Well,
Yes,
it's
sir.
funny because
Yes,
Deanna Brown, James Brown's oldest daughter, texted me this morning. I
She's
told
beautiful.
her, I told her we got to talk about something, and I want to see if we can get that song out. But thank you, Jewel, for your call.
Yes, and have it with a children's book also. Follow it up with a children's book as well.
All right. I appreciate it. Thank you. Let me go to the comments on the live stream. Crystal Glover writes, hey, Rev, I marched right along with you all for Yusef Hawkins. That's happened in 89. As I said, HBO has a film out, Storm Over Brooklyn, the whole Yusef Hawkins movement. His mother be at Saturday rally tomorrow because they're getting ready to have a hearing on the man that has done over 30 years in jail. Now he's claiming he didn't do it. But anyway,
Wow.
I was there. This white woman had a sign that read, only one race, the human race. I took it from her and ripped it into 2 pieces and kept marching. I've grown up a lot since then. LOL. All right, Crystal. Yeah, I guess the woman was trying to say we wasn't human. I don't know what. The reason why I tell people to watch that film, Storm Over Brooklyn, and I had nothing to do with it. I was interviewed in it, but I had nothing to do with producing it at all. And I had nothing to do with Loudmouth, was a profile, a documentary on me that's still on Showtime. But if you think racism stopped in the South,
That's right.
You watch Storm Over Brooklyn on HBO, or even watch Loudmouth, where you actually see in New York, the New York that Donald Trump came from. Don't forget that Howard Beach was right the next town from Jamaica Estates where Donald Trump grew up. And Donald Trump's 10 years older than me, so he grew up where it was even more segregated. And you see these people come out in the streets calling us the N-word and throwing watermelon at us. You will understand that it didn't end in Alabama. It is a race problem in this country. And just because Trump wasn't born in the South does not mean he was not born in a racist neighborhood. Howard Beach was right next door to where he comes from. Let's go to Ray in Cincinnati, Ohio, the Buzz. Ray?
Yes, sir, my man Rev. Happy weekend to you, sir.
Same to you.
Rev, when Schumer first voted with the Republicans, I thought it was a good idea because it would have given, if he had voted no, it would have given Trump just what he wanted, a government shutdown. But then I got to thinking, there were 214, our Congress guy came on the Buzz radio station a couple of days ago, and he said there were 214 in the House. Democrat voted to shut it down, and there were 37 in the Senate. And then I got to thinking, the only standouts were 37. 10 people in the Senate. I'm like, okay, so you got over 200 and something that wanted to vote to shut it down, and then you got 10 voted not to. That's fuzzy math to me. That doesn't add up.
Wait a minute, you got what now? I don't understand.
Yeah, it was 214 members in the House voted to shut the government down,
right,
or not vote for. And then there's 47 Democrat senators, and 37 voted along with the Republicans and the Democrats in the House. And
right.
So
but you can't combine the vote.
What'd you say?
You can't combine the vote. The House vote is separate than the Senate vote.
I know that, but I'm saying is all but 10 Democrats, whether you're in the House or Senate, all but 10 voted with the Republicans. And I'm like, well, maybe the Democrats are right. That's just what's my thinking.
Okay. All right.
But all this infighting, sometimes after when the MSNBC shows come on, and Trump is the lead story with all his nonsense, and then there's the infighting from the Democrats. And it's just getting out of hand. Stick together, find something that you can come together on, and just stop the infighting. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, what I said from the beginning, when I finished, I preached in Elizabeth, New Jersey for Reverend Bartley Sunday. I got in the car, Schumer called me, and I said from the beginning, and I said to him, my heart was, we should have fought, and I don't care if we had to wait a minute. He explained to me why he did it. I said, what you say makes sense, but I still, in my heart, think we should fight. But if you're on your way to meet with Hakeem, we all need to be together. Hakeem voted against it. If y'all work it out, because they're not fighting. But I don't believe in giving them any break at all. But I can go along with the united front when it's all of us depend on that. He believes that if they close the government down, that they were not going to let it open again. They were going to only open up what they wanted. They would let all them federal workers go into unemployment, and they would hire MAGA people. And he believes that. Now, I told him that I would have tried to fight a little, even if I believed that. But I can't argue against that because they will do that. They just closed the Department of Education for
That's right.
And that was no shutdown. So I think you're right, Ray. We got to find common ground and keep fighting.
All right, Rev. Thanks.
Thank you for your call. T in Detroit. You're keeping it real with Sharpton and Williams.
He just hung up, Rev. Sorry.
T is not there, and I'm going to run up on the break. Why don't we go ahead and take the break, and I'll come back after the break and close the show. I hope you got some hay to get that mule, because I think Bishop Cabinet is going to tell you to let him go, so feed the mule during the break, Reverend Williams. We'll be right back. Keeping it real. Sharpton Williams. Be right back.
You get in the car, right, Rev?
Yeah, get in the car. Give me 3.
day. Thank you for the servants who are in this room right now. Thank you for their leadership. Thank you for their work. Thank you for their dedication, for their determination, their grit. We pray, Lord, you continue to bless them, order their steps, their stops, control their thoughts, Lord God, for your glory, for the good of this country and the world, Lord. So thank you for them being here right now. As we go into worship, we pray that you will bless this worship experience. Give us ears to hear what the Spirit has to say to us this day. In Jesus' name, amen.
Stop telling yourself you're not confident of what you could do. When people with half your skills and a quarter of your talent have gone on to create big waves in life, if you look at them and you know you're more gifted than them, then what is your problem? You are looking for someone to come and drag you into success. You've got to use what you have, which is, in my judgment, more skillful than others I've known in your area. Use that and believe in that, and your confidence will build up as you get going and start doing. And don't chase the spotlight. Sharpen your skills. Live in your purpose. And you'll get so good the spotlight will be chasing you. Be so good they can't help but talk about you and put the spotlight on you. You don't get your energy from chasing the spotlight. You get your energy by chasing your purpose. The spotlight and other adulation will come with it. Have a great day. Hi, this is Reverend Al Sharpton. Be ready for the National Action Network's National Convention, April 2nd through the 5th, 2025, in New York at the Sheraton. This year, and the 57th anniversary of the assassination of Dr. King, they're trying to take back everything he stood and died for. We convene every year in April to make sure they know that they killed the dreamer, not the dream. We have workshops on everything from business development to dealing with our legal needs, from police reform all the way to how we deal with sentencing, how we deal with immigration, how we deal with the arts and entertainment. We have big names that come every year, but don't come for the big names, come for the big plans and the big execution. Register now. Because with this year, as we are under assault with DEI, under assault with ending the Civil Rights Division of the Justice Department, under assault with now consent decrees and all are neutralized, if there ever was a time that you should come to a National Action Network convention, now's the time. We don't need a lot of philosophizing. We don't need a lot of showing how smart you are. We need action. We plan action and then we go and do action. I'm looking for you. Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net. We have no registration fee. You don't pay to register. Just get here and let's get it on. National Action Network Convention, April 2nd through the 5th. I'm going to look for you there. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton. Reverend Charles Williams II is our co-host. It's Hot Button Friday. Don't forget tomorrow, Saturday and Sunday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Watch Politics Nation with Al Sharpton live at 5 p.m. Eastern Time on MSNBC. I have members of Congress and the Senate on both tomorrow and then different ones on Sunday to deal with not only the vote to keep the government going, whether Schumer was right or wrong, but also where we are now with the Department of Education being closed, and they can block the closing. Where we are in terms of the erasing of military men from the Department of Defense websites. A lot to talk to people in Congress and the Senate about, and you know I'll bring it to them. So make sure you are watching and supporting. I'm also going to have the head of the largest teachers union in the country, Becky Pringle, of the National Education Association. We're going to have her on, and then we'll have the brother of George Floyd on this weekend, talk about how he feels about Elon Musk saying that the killer of George Floyd, his brother, who you saw with his knee on George Floyd's neck in that video, that Musk is saying he ought to be pardoned. So we're going to have Terrence Floyd on. Lot on 2 days. Make sure you watch it. Then you that are in the New Jersey, Connecticut, New York area, meet me or beat me in the morning to the Saturday Action Rally at the House of Justice in Harlem, 145th Street and Lenox Avenue in the village of Harlem, 145th and Lenox, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. I'll let you out by 11 so you can do what you have to do during the day, but you need to get plugged in, energized, and synchronized. And the National Action Network Convention is less than 2 weeks away in New York, Sheraton, Times Square, New York. Everybody from Ben Crump to Stacey Abrams to our honoring some of our outstanding women, Patti LaBelle, Chris Matthews of Hardball is going to also be there. Media panel, we're going to have everybody from Don Lemon to Errol Lewis. I mean, just on and on and on. Like I said, Ben Crump and Reverend Ralph West is doing the minister's luncheon sermon of the Church Without Walls in Houston. It is absolute the biggest and the best, but it's about action. It's not just come see the celebrity. It's being the workshop, engage with them, so we come out of there with an action strategy, and we're coming out of there announcing a prolonged boycott against those that have shut us down in diversity. So we're coming out with action. You need to be part of the deliberations. That's on the April 2nd through the 5th in New York. Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net, or you can call the toll-free number right now, 1-877-626-4651, 1-877-626-4651, and register. All the sessions are free, but if you register, you're guaranteed a seat. Reverend Williams, what's going on in Detroit National Action Network tomorrow?
I want to ask folks to join us tomorrow, 10 a.m. at the historic King Solomon Baptist Church, 6100 14th Street. Now, first, I want you to make sure you get registered for the National Convention. So we have folks who will be there who can register you on the spot. Don't just show up and didn't register. It is very, very important that you get registered. I want you to be able to get into all the events, and national office always does a good job at doing that. So make sure you're there and make sure you register. Secondly, we've been hearing from mayoral candidates. We're running for mayor. I want you to make sure you got questions. You ask those questions that you have. So join us tomorrow, 10 a.m., historic King Solomon Baptist Church for the National Action Network Michigan Saturday Action Rally.
All right. And thank you for that. Let's go to the phone. Let's go to China. China, you're keeping it real with Sharpton and Williams. Is China there? I don't hear China.
I don't either.
All right. All right, then let's go to the extraordinaire chapter leader, president of the Greater Cleveland chapter of National Action Network, Dr. Marcia McCoy. Dr. McCoy.
Our beloved Reverend Dr. Professor Al Sharpton. Over the years, in spite of the intimidating, daunting, overwhelming, prodigious, made-up inadequacies, verbal attacks, and confrontation, you stayed the course.
That's right.
And I had to come to the realization that being an activist, advocating against issues that affect diversity, equity, and inclusion and other issues, people may not agree. But I have to always remember that it comes with the territory.
That's right.
All the verbal abuse, action is our middle name. We are the National Action Network. Come on, Bishop. Are you going to release the mule or are you going to hold the mule?
Dr. Al Sharpton.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Charles Williams.
Yes, sir.
Oh, my mule, my brother. I'm not releasing it.
I got you, Reverend.
In American legendary history, there was a man by the name of Robin Hood who became notorious for robbing the rich and the wealthy and giving it to the poor. Fast forward today, we have the antithesis, the opposite of a modern-day Robin Hood who occupies the Oval Office. The antithesis of Robin Hood steals and robs from the poor in order to enrich the rich and the wealthy. This despicable liar, whom the Lord hates more than anything else, is none other than convicted felon Donald Duck Trump. He employs a reprehensible, detestable Elon Musk, who has 14 children by 4 different women, who hates black people, and this immigrant from white South Africa wants to establish apartheid in America. While campaigning, Donald Trump solemnly vowed to not touch Social Security and Medicaid. But as we speak, what is he and the 2025 hating crowd doing? Everything they can to obliterate Social Security and Medicaid. Millions of people, all ethnicities, will suffer economically, except the rich with their tax breaks. Every time I see a person of color, Dr. Sharpton, African American in particular, every time I see them embrace these contemptible, abominable, racist bigots, I pray, have you no shame selling your soul to the company store? Have you lost your last cotton-picking mind? These fellows hate you. Wake up. These evil, diabolical idiots want you dead. Join the National Action Network and let us fight these nauseating clowns. Unite the cows until the cows come home. We have the illustrious and powerful distinguished leader, the Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton, and we have the National Action Network that will lead us to victory. Come on, y'all. Get awoke. This is a battle we cannot afford to lose. Our children and our children's children must have more rights than we. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Bishop. All right. Thank you, Bishop. Thank you, Doctor. And, for the audience that doesn't know, Bishop Cavanis is 96 years old and been in the struggle since Dr. King and at the Greater Abyssinia Baptist Church in Detroit. And if he has that kind of energy and fire at 96, you don't have any excuse. I never understood these guys 30 talk about how tired they are, and they just got started. I think that it's time for us to understand that they depend on us being tired so they can do what they want to do to us. And then the other great sin is when you zoom out. Reverend Al, I just zoomed out. I tuned out for the weekend. I tuned out because there's just so much happening. It was happening to you. It was happening to your children. How are you going to tune out and let people barbecue your race and close your children's way of having a quality education, and you tuned out? I think that, sometimes people should stop and listen to what they say and understand how foolish it is, particularly when you are aware that everything you have is somebody that didn't zoom out, somebody that didn't go the other way, that fought to make sure you had it. All you got to do is do some minor things, attend a rally, attend a convention, attend a march, write a letter to your elected officials, just minor stuff that you'd have to do in comparison just to keep it. They died, some of them shed blood, went to jail, suffered all kind of abuse and family breakups and all of that in order to carve a path for us. And you too lazy and ungrateful. That's right, lazy and ungrateful to get up and go to a meeting, a rally. I know folks when I was growing up in Brooklyn in the projects wouldn't go to the elevator on their floor to go to the ground floor to a tenants meeting. Yet they got to complain about everything. They didn't have to leave the building. Didn't even have to put on a jacket. Just go downstairs. Too lazy to go down to a tenants meeting. But you want everything treated in a quality way to you. You really don't want it. You just want to say it. So that's why the true believers, the ones that ain't too busy, will be in New York April 2nd through the 5th, or as many days as they can, at the National Action Network Convention. And it's about action. Don't come if you're not ready for action. Don't come to show how smart you are or how mad you are. Come mad, come smart, but come ready to put some feet to your action and put some feet to your being smart and put some feet to your being tired, because it's time for us to do several things. One of the reasons why Trump and Elon Musk is getting away with so much is because there's no resistance. Where is the movement against them? I was glad to see over the last couple of days Bernie Sanders and AOC going out there and rallying. Where's our rally? But that's what we got a plan for at the National Action Network Convention. Let me thank all of you that called in at Exhale Friday. Let me thank Reverend Charles Williams and all of you that called in, listened in, you that called in and couldn't get through, but hung in there anyhow. Remember, wherever you do, wherever you go, however you feel, tell somebody, tell anybody, tell everybody. Reverend Al told you, press the number. Keep it real. Keep it real. Whatever you do, keep it real. I'll talk to you Monday.
Al Sharpton's views and opinions are his own and do not necessarily represent those of Radio 1 Incorporated, our affiliates, our subsidiaries, or our advertisers. Breaking news. The issues, the stories affecting you. Now here's the news from News1.com.
It's Sybil Wilkes with what we need to know. An American